In Vicksburg, Mississippi, one of the most haunted places in the United States, the ghosts of the past refuse to rest. Civil war, slavery, and murder coat the McRaven Manor like a coat of paint, inside and out. The home itself was started in 1797 and owned by a murdering highwayman that refuses to leave. Each successive owner built a portion onto it in the fashion of their time period, 1836 and eventually 1849. Each section looking like a time capsule of the past, one that the previous occupants are reluctant to leave. An invitation from the mayor of Vicksburg brought the Ghost Adventures crew, and with the admonishment that he hopes that they can leave alive, they attempt to record all of the paranormal events happening in this town. Dr. Stephen Reed doesn't live in this house, wisely. It's haunted, as he said in his own words. The previous owner was beaten and driven off, one Leland French, after doing his own rituals to draw attention to himself. You goober. Honestly, I have no idea why in the world it's like, I want to see what's out there. Come and hit me real hard. Oh my God, I'm ready for the house. I'm ready. You know, all you have to do is ask somebody over the age of 60, would you do that? Or go to a black guy, go, would you do this? Oh, hell no. Nope, I don't think so. It would not happen. You know, you don't attract negative attention to yourself. You know what that's like? That's like putting on a bulletproof vest and going, here, shoot me in the crotch.
Yeah.
Your chest is going to be perfectly fine, but you're going to find your genitals spread across the back 40 behind you. So, whatever. Now, what's the first thing that you noticed about this episode?
How smart that gentleman was. Let's just start off there. Do you live here? No. Why? It's haunted. Best answer ever. I could not agree 1,000% more with this gentleman. The other thing I realized is, like, yeah, these people are gonna be affected because they are dressed in period clothing. I'm sure that definitely draws attention to them. As a matter of fact, they came back in period clothing. So, yeah, I kind of knew there was going to be a lot of stuff happening.
Now, not just the fact that they're dressed in period clothing, but the fact that they're dressed in period clothing that was attractive. The person who was giving most of the negative attention was the girl who was
Jay.
Yeah, Jay, who is the heavier one, which, by the way, this is to give you an idea of the differences in what is attractive in each time period. In the 1700s, the big thing was Rubenesque, which is to say plump.
I thought the one that was getting affected the most while they had the lockdown was
that's the mentally affected. The physically affected one was the other.
Okay.
She was the one who was constantly. She was getting, fingers traced up the inside of her thigh, her ning being played with. That you have to read the notes on the episodes about what. I'm gonna have to share the page with people. The notes on the episode and the stuff that they talk about that happened. The commercials actually will oftentimes tell you more because they're things they don't put online. This guy was fondling her.
Yeah.
All right. Because she was his ideal of beautiful. She's Rubenesque, which once again in the 1700s became a thing. The changes, the differences in what people find particularly as, pushed as the beauty thing, the runway model type thing. She was what they epitomized at the time in art in that time period. You can look it up. It's called Rubenesque. If you don't think it's true, go ahead and look it up. You'll start thinking, oh wait, maybe BBW type thing is not a new thing. Oh, that's actually going past Rubenesque. This lady's not that big. So, she being the one who was the most, the one that he epitomized the most for attraction, he kept on going after her. Now, the first time I saw the room, the first portion of the house, two things hit my head. One, why is everything covered in blood? That's the first thing I saw. And then the other thing was, and this is for anybody who ever played Dungeons and Dragons, The whole house reminded me of the House of Lament from Ravenloft. And the House of Lament in that story, that module, was actually originally the only thing left of a tower from a castle that a girl was actually locked in there, and she disappeared into the house, died, and everybody in the castle was killed later, type of thing. And somebody later on came on and built onto the tower that was there, stopped, they disappeared, died, etc. And then the next person took over, etc. That's what this house was like. I didn't even know that until we saw the episode. They just started discussing about how they kept on adding on to it. So appropriately so. Now, I haven't heard that this guy killed anybody yet. And though the thing was smart enough to pretend that it was Leland French at the end when giving them answers, Leland French is still alive. Traumatized, probably on medication, but still alive. And I knew this, that he was still alive before when the thing was actually giving answers. And I was telling my family, I said, Leland French isn't dead. That's not his ghost. This is that dude standing there and playing like Jeff Dunham with a puppet. He's just mouthing to the thing and pretending he's somebody else. Turned out he was. And the thing basically is just looking for a thrill. But the other ghost in the house, which was one of a lady who died after childbirth, was it?
A girl. She would have been 15, because she was 12 when they married, and then 3 years later she had a baby and died during complications.
Right. And that was the one that kept on talking at Jay. And then Jay kept on hearing other voices as well from the guy who wanted her to go away, because he kept on trying to menace her away. And apparently that ghost, the murdering highwayman, was menacing the lady upstairs. She said she always felt safer in that room, and that evening was the first time that the guy's voice had come in there and chased her out, if I remember that correctly.
Mm.
And this is all part and parcel with the understanding of, please, folks, please, if you don't know what you're doing, and we've asked this several times before, please tell others. Don't mess with things. Don't. This Leland French dude, for him to get this level of activity stirred up, and the energy level in the house, by the way, the background count was all over the place. In fact, in several places in the house, when the highwayman, I've forgotten his name, I'm sorry, I should have written this down. When he starts affecting people in the house, the energy gets very like fire. The reason I say that is like it moves upwards but at a sideways angle, and it makes the entire room feel stretched. When the other lady is affecting, the room seems to flow like wind through the willows. Basically, things brush back and forth. I'm trying to give you guys explanations of what to look for in background count for those of you who are still trying to see auras, because when you finally can see this, and granted, it's AA grade A tough, okay, to see through infrared, but it can be done with a lot of focus and a high definition TV with a high definition signal, both of which I don't have. Mine's 720p, and the signal we get is probably barely 480 because we're watching it on the internet. But once you know what to look for, hopefully it'll help. And when this guy would come into the room, it's stark. The change in the energy, stark. And he would grab, poke, fondle, pinch. I don't think he did any damage, but this is all the stuff that Leland unlocked. He unlocked this. He messed with it. You know, you can go into a place and instigate and just try and piss the things off, going, yeah, you're a big pussy. You suck. You couldn't move the damn thing. That will only drive up so much energy. You can't get a house like this to respond that strong with that many spirits without doing something to draw in more energy. Now, am I saying he opened a portal? No, this is all Zach's fancy. Okay, and I use that in the same term as Lewis Carroll. It's all this fancy. you don't have to open portals to draw in energy. You just have to do the right things, and you bring in enough energy. And a house of this type, that's mostly organic material, is going to pretty much hold on to it all, sort of like a plastic rod holding onto a nice static charge, as long as you don't discharge it.
Yeah, not to mention all the shrapnel and artifacts that's outside. I'm sure that didn't hurt to keep everything locked in. I mean, that,
And that's the other
yeah,
part of it. The entire town is a grave. This place was the center of one of our worst battles at the turning of several tides against the Confederate Army. All right. Was it 70,000 people died there? I think
I
70,000.
think it was something like somewhere around there. They were saying.
You're essentially standing on unknown graves. They even found a bone outside, right? I'm like, oh my god, it's a person. I told
It's a
Karen,
finger.
no, it wasn't a finger. It was
It
a
was a finger. It
fibula.
looked like a.
No, it was a fibula. It was a cut fibula.
Oh, not that one. I thought you were talking about when the boys was out there when Aaron was digging. Aaron found that one bone.
Yeah, that was a fibula. It was the bottom of a fibula. It's or tibia. I think it was a tibia. It was the broken end of a tibia from a cut leg. As soon as the picture they showed the bone, I was my gifts filled in the rest of the meat around it. So it's the small bone in the left leg of a Confederate soldier. It was cut off. I think they mentioned that later in the episode.
I know they mentioned that the doctor had dug beforehand and found um, a cut femur.
A femur. Oh, that's even worse. Oh God, no. Oh,
Because he held it up and it was showing how it was like cut, and then that's when they put the fact in that a good doctor back then was a good doctor could cut 3 limbs off in a minute, and I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
that's on a side note. The Romans had better technology for saving limbs than we did because of the loss of all of the medical knowledge. Um, I bemoan that. We've had so many backward steps technologically on saving people's lives and health. It's just, yeah, I can't go near places like that where hospitals have the people were. I can't do it. I can't go near where people have been conscious for that, because it leaves a stain on the environment. And I know people say, well, stain, what do you feel? Okay. For those, I wish I had the ability to do this, but even if I could cut this into the video, which at some point in time I may on VidMe if I figure this out, and I can keep from getting into trouble with Disney. In the beginning of Tron, when Clue is being tortured by the Master Control Program, and you see him going, ah, and you see him shaking, and his essence is simply being rattled as he's being partly taken apart and then put back together again to be questioned, but not being derezzed. That is what happens to me. Every part of me is just shaking, and I'm hearing the pain of those who had previously been hurt. This is why I can't go walking around like the Trail of Tears. Oh no, I'm not getting near that. I am not getting near that. There are certain places you cannot get me to go to, and that's one of them, because where people have suffered in a major way, that stain causes that to me. And this is why Joel now knows when we're going through the orchards over near Chico. Sean, get ready, because you're going to say, yeah, okay, you're scaring me pretty bad here, but what am I getting ready for? And the good warning so that I'm ready for it, because there's crap we're going to see. There's crap that's going to be walking out of the woodwork, and it's like, yeah, don't let it freak you out too badly.
Yeah.
And so when I say there's a stain, that's how I perceive the stains. These stains on the world are, I can't even describe the level of horror.
I guess a good way to explain it would be spiritual or emotional scarring or wounds onto a particular place on physical location on Earth. That's what pretty much is what you're talking about. And that's for people to understand. That might be a little bit easier for you to understand, because that takes on that scar, that stain takes on the emotional anguish of what had transpired there. So,
And you
you
can
know,
you can put good things into an environment as well, so that places are placid, accepting, loving, healing as well. It doesn't only have to be bad, which is why we
no,
encourage you guys to go to the silent movie theater in Los Angeles, because that's a good place. Because who wouldn't want to sit and watch a silent movie with the movie stars that have passed? I think that's freaking cool. You know what I want to find out where Gene Kelly's ghost hangs out, and I want to go watch movies there. Seriously. Gene Kelly's my fave. So
that would be pretty amazing.
yeah, that would be that, or that, and Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder's the other one. God, that ruined me. Did you know it's 2 years since he died now?
Yeah, I know.
Dude. So now this building itself, the McRaven Manor, was around long before all of the crap happened, and long before the big battle in the Union versus the Confederacy. So it's been gathering energy, and it's a focal point for it. And we don't know how many people, dead people, are all around that place. We have no idea. What we do know is that while I was watching them doing their little gory treasure hunt, I was watching, and remember I was saying, Joel mentioned, watch out, going through Orchard, people come out here, die. Okay. As I'm watching them do their little hunting, I'm wondering why their crew is like, it looks like 50 or 60 people. I've never seen this many people as they're walking in amongst the trees. I actually had to ask, because I noticed all these people stepping out from behind the trees. I thought, are they carrying cameras? Are these crew people? And then the camera actually rested on a couple of their extra crew members that were setting up for the shoot. And those people were solid, according to my wife. But the other people, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so I run it back, and I said, do you see these people here? This person here? They're like, no. I said, do you see? Okay. All righty. Wow, they caught a lot of people on film. That entire sequence, I'm seeing people next to the trees, looking out from behind the trees, looking out from the bushes. Yeah. That's one of those moments where I would be going up to Joel and going, Joel, do you see these guys? No. Please get me out of here. Please. You know, and Joel puts his hands over my eyes, and we walk out of there while I'm going, I don't want to see anymore. Because the next step would be them going, oh, you can see us. Let me show you how I died. And that next step is something I can't handle. I know I sound like a pussy. I'm not a pussy. If you had to watch horror films that you knew were real all day, and we're talking not Freddy Krueger, we're talking, you know, you have to watch old home movies of the Mandelas, okay? You know, Mangalas, or whoever, the people who actually, what's the name of that guy in Chicago who had that hotel where he was actually destroying people and keeping them, they thought he might be Jack the Ripper. That guy, where you're watching whole movies of people being vivisected. Nah, I'm sorry. Let me see you be courageous in the face of that stuff. That's not cool. That's how they show me their stuff. I'm not a medium where they talk to me. They just tend to throw images my way where they're literally bodily showing me what happened to them. And where it might be good for gathering data, it's not the kind of data I like to gather. I'm a person who can watch a horror movie and laugh, but this kind of thing, that's not a horror movie. It's not fake. It's not that sugar blood stuff and foam rubber. It's not. This isn't the Alien movies. That's for real. And these things do want their stories to be known, so that at the very least they know somebody knows about it, not because they're, oh, well, somebody I tell my story to and I'm going to go off to heaven. No, some of these guys are stuck because they're constantly reliving their death, and they're curious about the world around them as it changes because they can't leave. And the McRaven Manor is completely surrounded by that crap. Believe it. If you want someplace to go and visit that's not going to be 100% copacetic, and I know you guys are not going to listen to me when I say stay away from it, you'll go anyway, that's the place. I don't think it's a good family vacation spot.
No.
But if you guys want to go to the nuclear fallout version of Spook Las Vegas, there you go. Vicksburg is the place for you. But I personally, I got other places I'd like to go.
So, I was interested in the machines that they was using that was putting out the positive ions. I thought that was interesting, and it it I couldn't understand why when they were up there, they was like, "Wow, why do I feel this way?" And I feel angry at everybody. Why do I feel this way? Well, you just said you just put something up there that causes negative emotions and through positive ions, pretty much like an ionic bomb. You could probably expect that to happen. And I think that um, doing that kind of helped kicked up that activity in the one room where they didn't have an X camera. Like, I am shocked that I would have to say the one thing I liked about Taps when
They never
uh,
neglected to cover a room.
yeah, they covered all the rooms, and that room has some major, major things happening in it. And that would have been just so amazing
And they knew that the
to
room had
catch.
major stuff happening too. They knew that activity happened in that room and that things would move. And the girls had already told them. He says, "Oh, I kicked myself for not putting a camera up there," especially since the girl said that. So, you mean they told you that day and you still ignored putting? They don't have a lack of these X cams.
I think part of the thing is I think they just got so jazzed, so excited about being able to dig um, in that area because, like they said, it's not some place you can usually dig because that's um, archaeology. You know, that's someplace that an archaeologist probably wants to dig so they can um, catalog what they found, where they found, how deep it was, so they know how deep they will have to go to find more things. And I think that might have been part of their distraction um, with that. And in that room, like there was a lot of stuff, like being able to hear the the scream or the spirit on the camera. It's like actually catch it on the camera.
Yeah,
That
rather than it being
was
an EVP. I don't think they caught many EVPs. It was all live cam. It was all live audio.
yeah, yeah, and that was pretty great. That was uh, just to me. I thought that was really, really, really great, and I definitely was happy that they got some of that stuff. That they got as much as they did.
And the positive ion thing, that wasn't the EMP pump. That this is a was it?
That was the fife, the fife, the Pfeiffer thing, or
So
it
it
was
wasn't
something
it
like
wasn't the
that.
old EMP pump. It was a different one
Yeah,
because
yes, it's.
and they
I'm
kept
pretty
on
sure.
the batteries kept dying in this one. They had to keep on getting a new camera or new batteries for stuff because this guy was sucking up the charges as fast as he could in order to be able to draw enough energy in to go after everybody there. That remember they were doing a recording and then it's like this one's dead quick. I mean, or was it on the walkie talkies as well?
Yeah, and he was like, really mad, and he was like, I don't understand why I feel this way. There's no reason why I'm usually not like this. No, you just literally said that you're gonna set off a bomb, pretty much an explosion of positive ions to cause this kind of emotion. So yeah, yeah, this is happening.
I'm just curious what it would feel like for you or I to be near the darn thing because if it's going to be sending off lots of energy like that, uh, and it's would we soak up any energy because if it's positive ions, that's not how you get charged. That's how you deplete charge.
Yeah.
Negative ions is how you push energy up in the air. Positive
The
ions is how you make things go quiescent. Positive ions are usually associated with sitting next to waterfalls and fountains.
the one thing I, I was thinking um, that came to mind, especially like there, they weren't using the tools that they were given to them from that. Was it New Mexico when they went to go look at the skinwalker? Remember the
Hmm.
shaman said to do this whenever,
Yeah.
and like I was, it always surprises me when they don't. It's like every time they come up to something, I'm like, why don't they remember that this is something that they should do to help them? Because that was something. I mean, they she even said, this paint is with you. It will be with you always, and that's not something that just goes away.
Their memory of it may go away or they may do it off camera. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, but if they don't remember, which is seems to be the most likely chain of events, uh, plus you have to remember they were stoned off their asses. We're warriors now. Remember that one? Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's right. And they're oh my gosh, how did I forget that? Uh, well, but she showed them that before they
Before
took the
they got
blessing.
blottoed, yeah, but see, but then they took the peyote, and it's like we're going on a trip now. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Pretty great.
Oh, oh my gosh! Like, oh, we thought we were just taking in sage. Yes, because it totally smells like sage.